Yeah, g'day guys. Today we're doing the top 10 power tools that I use in my workshop. Here we go.
I found a new use for the crane. Do some whacking.
Someone said it's a tiny dick.
Bit of a tight budget on this one.
I've got 3 of my favourite that I cannot do without. So they'll be last, but we're going to count down from 10. So the first one, number 10, is Saber Saw. Ryobi one, I just seem to have accumulated a fair bit of Ryobi stuff. No particular reason. They're a good power tool. They're also made by the same people who make Milwaukee, so surely it can't be too bad. And the best part about all Saber saws, some people call them a reciprocating saw or anything like that, and a lot of them have, you know, like a power cord, but this one, all of these have the same blade. And when I mean blade, I mean by the attachment. They're all universal. Like no matter what brand they are, even Milwaukee or Skill or anybody else, they're all the same. There's just a few of the ones that you can get. A fairly coarse timber type blade, just looks like a normal saw blade. You can get metal type blades, like that's, you know, 18 to 20 teeth per inch. And like, I mean, here's, it even says on the packet here what these ones are. Not that that's crucial to the average user. Like, I mean, this part here is, that one says wood, and you know, there's metal and wood, and well, very coarse for wood. So, but I mean, the blades are just a consumable. You need them, sort of like, you know, drill bits and grinders, wheels and things like that. So that's number 10. That's the Saber Saw. Yeah, so number 9, guys, is going to be, it's a wire wheel. It's on a bench grinder, but it's a wire wheel, and I use it to strip everything. Anyway, let's go and have a look at it. So, number 9, the wire wheel. Really all it is just a big heavy wire brush, like a very, very heavy wire brush on a bench grinder. So I use it to strip off paint or rusted old, cruddy old bolts, or you know, it brings up a daggy old looking bolt into something new, which is very handy with the kind of stuff that I do. So I would be lost without it. So that's wire wheel, number 9. So number 8 is going to be drills, including the drill press. So let's go check them out, eh? So drills. Number 8. I do really enjoy using good drills. Yet again, not a particular brand of anything. You know, a 240 volt corded drill, really good drill, this one. It is a hammer drill. And these ones here, this is a really old one that I've been using for donkey's years. Actually, I built the cabin with that, so she's certainly done many a miles. And there's a bit more of a later model upgrade. It's a brushless, and all the new cordless drills seem to be going all brushless now. So, but then we got the old air drills. Well, this one's a little 3/8, spins quite fast, and this one's a 1/2 inch, which has planetaries inside, which reduces the speed but gives you more torque. So this one's faster, that one's slower, but more torque. So also got a masonry drill. Hang on, I'll go and grab it. Yeah, here's the hammer drill that I got. It's a SDS fitting for it. Like, there's a masonry bit, for those who don't know. The little tip on the end, if it'll focus, is a tungsten carbide. So good old tungsten tip. Now the SDS is just the fitting. So this has the collar that slides back. It's a bit hard when I've got one end. So that collar slides back and the bit slips in there and it locks in, where these ones are just a normal chuck, screw chuck, like 3-jaw screw chuck, which are most of the others. This one's a keyless chuck, so you don't need a chuck key, and these smaller ones need a chuck key. So this one flies through. I think they're called a rotary hammer is what they call them. You can get much bigger ones, the 240 volt ones and things like that. So that is drills. That's what I got. Use them all the time. This is the drill press. Now I've done a video on this one when I upgraded the motor in the back that was dying to a treadmill motor with a variable speed. So I'll leave the link in the description for the drill press upgrade. So it gets used for much heavier. It has a 5/8 chuck, and it can sort of handle just about everything and anything I push towards it. It's a multi-speed and things like that. It has all sorts of variable speeds on the belt, but it mainly has, because I've used DC, we got variable speed anyway. I could probably even put it in reverse if I put a switch into it, but I don't. So anyway, it's a really good old drill. So number 7 is going to be rattle gun, impact gun, a few of those. Dacks, I think people call them nowadays. So let's go and check them out. So number 7, rattle guns, or impact guns, or dacks, or ugga-duggas. Many funny names. This one here, yet again, not a particular brand, but it's got a 3-speed on it, which is really good, a battery operated one. Handles a fair bit, but it does have like a overheat sort of sensor, and it cuts out every now and then if you're overdoing it. Also, I like to use the air operated one, which I find it's actually more power than the battery one. Now Milwaukee probably tell you different, but in the 1/2 inch size, the air one outstrips the battery one. And you can also get little ones, like this is a 3/8 of an inch on the bit size. So, and just always remember when you're using impact tools to always try and use impact sockets, because they do break. Normal sockets will break if you really give it to it. And there's quite a good range in quite a few different places. A good little extension that you can chuck on there for these double-ended. These are double-ended wheel nut sockets. Got a few of those, they're quite handy. They got 2 different sizes, metric and imperial. Got quite a few. That they are really handy. I use them a lot. And tube sockets in impact, and all sorts, right up to a nice big one there that I use for one particular job. So rattle guns, got to have them, especially doing any car things or machinery or anything that's a bit heavy. You really need to get yourself a rattle gun. So try them ones. Yeah, so number 6, it's a drop saw, or some people call them a hot saw or a cut-off saw or things like that. But I've just got 14-inch abrasive cut-off saw. Let's go and have a look. Okay, here's my drop saw. Nice big 14-inch. Blade's a little bit worn, but I always keep plenty in stock. You can never have too many spare blades. So I use this on just about every project. Like, it has a quick release. You can tie it down and you can change angles by removing or loosening that. And it's only a 3mm blade, so you can cut through every and anything. And there's the proof. I cut through lots of stuff. So I've always got plenty of offcuts, but a drop saw is what a lot of people call them. Cut-off saw, whichever, is a must in most fabrication shop. A lot of guys use a cold saw, which is different to a drop saw. This is a high-speed blade, and a cold saw spins at a much lower rate, but it uses a carbide tip steel blade, which you need to get sharpened, you know, every so often. Where these ones, they wear out. It's just an abrasive blade, they wear out, and you swap it out with another one. So the only thing is, this is quite messy. See all these little iron filings, and it's messy and dirty. Where a cold saw, it doesn't, it just cuts away little pieces. It takes out a little chunk, and the filings aren't tremendously hot, and no sparks or anything like that. But this one, being a hot saw, or a drop saw people call them, it's a much cheaper version than a cold saw. And the other alternative is a bandsaw, like a horizontal bandsaw. You can use them to cut pipe and steel and angle and flat bar and RHS and all those. But I find this is much quicker, where a bandsaw, it may be fairly accurate and not over noisy and doesn't make a big mess. Well, not as much a mess, but this is quick. It just cuts through it, hot knife through butter type thing. So that's my drop saw, a must have. So number 5 is impact guns. Some people call them screw guns, impact guns. Let's go and check them out. Number 5, impact screw guns. Some people mistake them for just a fancy drill, but anyway, some people think that these are not really used because you can use a cordless drill and put a screw in. Well, they don't have an impact function, where these, it's hard to explain. It's similar to a rattle gun, like a big impact gun, but these have a much lower impact rate. Is that the right word? Not sure. And they've got so many more different variations of tools and attachments that you can have. Like this is just a 3/8 socket adapter, so you can clip that in there and you can use whatever sockets you want. So I use it when I'm doing a lot of different sizes on little bolts and bits, and like even that little quad round the corner there, like most of the bolts are 10 mils, but some of them are 12, some of them are 13. So it's a quick, easy way to change, and it's better than using a ratchet bar, which, you know, nothing wrong with doing it manual, but when you can do it heaps quicker, and it actually, when you do them up, it has a little bit impact. You just got to be careful not to overdo it or strip the bolts. But the main reason I bought this first one was because it does screws up, and it does it quick. You can screw straight into timber, into steel. Like if you've got self-drill steel screws, you can easily, with impact, it'll drive it right into it. You'll be able to drill straight into steel with the right screw bits. And it also has other attachments, like this one here is a 5mm hex. Bit hard to sort of see. That's a 5mm hex with the right part for it, and that uses for batten screws. There's one for a little square for deck screws, things like that. There's a 5/16 roofing screw bit, and also you can get them with a drill on the end. I don't use these hardly at all. It's mainly for, I mainly use it for screws and for batten screws and roofing screws, things like that. A lot of roofers have these kind of things, not necessarily in the Ryobi brand, but they use them all the time. That's their main tool to get all the roof screws done. Also, I use these a little bit, which you know, fits in the thing, in the chuck, but they have a drill bit on the end, and they have a tap. So that one's a 10mm, and this one's a 12mm. You can drill a hole into a piece of steel, and the tapping function will pre-tap it for you. So you wouldn't want to use it in any really heavy plate, like, you know, this, you wouldn't be able to drill into there and be able to use this. It's more like for, I don't know, probably 1/8 plate, 3mm, or maybe a bit of 5/16, but you wouldn't really go into anything heavy like a bit of 3/8 or 1/2 inch, or, you know, 10mm or 12mm. So they are very, very handy. You can get them in all sorts of sizes. They're metric ones. You can get Imperials and, you know, UNC, UNF, all those. But impact guns. Some people call them screw guns. The old days they were just called roofing guns, but now they're so more versatile, and I'd be lost without them. So I got to have them. Number 4, it's the old lathe. Let's go and have a look. So number 4, my old lathe. I really couldn't do without this whole thing now. I did do a video recently of a motor upgrade, treadmill motor upgrade onto this instead of the old 1/4 horse thing. Now it's become a very handy piece of equipment. I've used it quite a bit. It still all functions. It's a bit worn out. You know, the ways are not as perfect as they should be, and the accuracy isn't there for really intricate parts, but it does everything I want it to do. So I'm not into doing fine intricate parts, so it sort of does everything I need it to. I've got a big array of, it's a bit hard to see, tooling and parts. Some of it came with it, some of it I bought afterwards. It's got extra gears and so forth. If I want to do thread cutting, you just change a couple of cogs on the end here, and it has the functionality to do thread cutting, which, you know, I've not really tried that myself, so we won't worry about it. If I want a thread, I'll just put a tap on it. So, but it does have a steady rest and a few other tools, and I've changed it to a quick change post. It's only a small one, but it's certainly big enough for this machine. I don't think this machine was ever designed to do big, heavy industry type stuff. It's only a 150mm chuck. So it certainly does everything I've ever wanted it to do. And the tooling is pretty cheap. There's a lot of stuff out on the market in the way of tooling. Not high-end stuff, but it certainly all does the job. And I'm only a novice at this turning anyway, so. But after having one, it's be pretty hard to not have one. So there's the old lathe. So number 3, it's a belt linisher. Let's go and check it out. It's a beauty. My most valuable power tool that I use is the old belt linisher. Now this is quite an old jigger. It originally just had the small belt that went all the way around there and a little guard on it, and you could use the top and the front bit, and I kind of didn't like that, and I had these belts available to me. Actually, they were really, really cheap, so I just made that extra pulley at the top and the little frame, and put a flat plate along the back here. So, and it's true down to the wheel, so I can have quite a big flat piece of steel if I need to, but it's still only 50mm wide, or 2 inches. So I use it a lot. I use it to sharpen drill bits. I use it to clean up burrs on bits of steel, like that there. There's just a gusset that I cut off for some project. So, and I always leave a few laying around near the linisher, so whenever I'm over there doing something with it, I can just give those a tidy up. But the linisher, it's my 3rd most used power tool in the shed, and I use it a lot. Gotta have it. Power tool number 2, getting down there. Power tool number 2 is grinders. And I got a few, so let's get into them. When I mean grinders, I mean like hand grinders, not a bench grinder or anything like that. So I have an array of grinders I use. So we'll start right at the top end. I've got 2 big 9-inch 230mm grinders. Yeah, they're Ryobis, but it's just, they do a really good job. So, and they're both the soft start function. Now the reason I got 2 of them, one is a normal grinding stone, which is 5-6mm thick, and this one is only got the 3mm cut-off blade. So if there's, I've just got to the point where I was sick of changing blades in grinders. So if you want to really beef into some big heavy weld, or take a bevel off of a big heavy plate and you're going to join it, I use the big one. And if I want to cut something with a big depth, actually that's a worn out cut-off wheel. So I recycle from the next one down, the next one down, the next one down, as they get smaller and smaller. So that's a cut-off wheel with a big depth, and I use it a lot. So coming down to good old Ozito, cheapy one, and that's just a 5-inch grinder with normal grinding stone. But it's a 2-handed operation, so with the trigger. But it's okay, it's not a bad grinder. Yeah, it's cheap. Now this one I use quite a bit. It's a cut-off wheel on a 5-inch, still 2-handed operation. So it's quite handy where the big one is too bulky and it's heavy if you're doing a lot of cutting. This will do something quite light and no issue. I use it a lot. We come to this little guy. Now this is quite an old 4-inch grinder. It's it's another Ryobi, and it's very old because the new ones have the switch up here, where this one has a little switch at the end, which is a bit of a downside. If you're not used to grinders, it could be a little bit unsafe, but I use this flappy disc. This is my go-to. If I've got a little dag on something, or there's a little weld that I just need, I'll just grab this one. And my old workbench, it has power points all the way along it. My welding bench, I use it all the time. So, as I do with most of them, all the time. But that's my go-to. If I just need a little weld taken down, that's the one I grab. Because it's single hand operation, it's really easy. You just pick it up and give it to it. And if it's a really big heavy weld, well, then I grab one of the larger ones and use into it. Now this one here I do use, it's a fairly new acquisition. It's just an air grinder. The only downside is you've got to have the compressor running, and I've only got a small compressor, so it's more for if you're doing something a little bit different. It's same size as this one. It's a 4-inch as well. So really I've got every size covered with all the grinders. But I just don't like having the compressor run all day. So I don't use it as often, but I've used it, you know, a fair bit. Now, battery grinders. I have 2 of those, of course you do. One's got a cut-off wheel on it for, you know, cutting steel if need be. When you've got a little intricate part and you've tacked something in the wrong place, you know, on the old bench here. So I tend to just grab this one. I could be anywhere in the workshop and grab this one, and it's really handy for that. And the other one, it's just a flappy disc, which I use a lot, especially the same size wheel. They're a 5-inch wheel, 125mm, and I've got a bunch of them. I buy them by a 30-pack. So the old flappy discs, they are just so handy to use. So I use that one a lot as well. But the batteries don't last as long. It gets a bit frustrating actually. So that's why I say, you know, this little 4-inch one with a flappy on it is my go-to, because, you know, you just grab it anytime. As long as the power cable is long enough, I use it a lot. So there's my array of grinders. I do have other ones, but I rarely use them. These are the ones I use all the time. And when I first started doing any fabrication work, I was so sick of changing grinding discs. From a grinding stone to a cut-off wheel to a flappy disc, I just got fed up. So I thought, I'll just slowly acquire another one and another one, and yeah, you just can't do without them. So one grinder is okay if you're not doing much stuff, but if you're get into it a bit, you really need a bunch of them. So that's my number 2. Got to have plenty of grinders. Number 1, drum roll. Here we go. The number 1 used power tool in my shed is my MIG welder. I could not do without this tool. It's the best power tool I've ever had. Some people think that it's not a power tool, it's a different type of equipment, but runs on power, and I use it a lot. So you probably saw recently, I did an upgrade on the old trolley. That's mainly because I kept going outside and wanting to tip over. Now it has a separate wire feeder. Like there's the main unit. It's a 250 amp single phase machine, a gas machine. So I use Arga Shield, like a mixed welding gas. So it's an industrial type machine. It's a 60% duty cycle, and it has a 10-meter lead. I normally have this lead hanging off that rope there, but I've only just done all the roof panels, the ceiling panels up there, so I just haven't worked out how to connect it, maybe into that bit of timber or something, so I can have the pulley and the counterweight. But anyway, I can drag this machine around anywhere in the workshop. It has a nice big long 4-meter lead, so it's a very, very versatile piece of equipment. Has a really nice gun, a Benzel type gun with very readily available consumables, and I just slot it in the little pocket there. And the wire feeder is a dual roller type wire feeder, very, very durable, and handles the 15 kilo rolls of wire. You can put anything on there. You can, if you're silly enough to use flux cord, I never would, but got to use the solid. Now it has also the option to plug in a spool gun for aluminium if you want to. I don't have a spool gun or even a TIG. It's not something that I have much call for, so I just use the good old MIG, and it does 99% of the work of the welding. This machine does have a stick welder function, so you can plug into MMA and away you go, which 250 amps is a fair bit for a stick welder. And the only time I've ever really used the stick welder side, because that's where I've learnt 90% of my welding back in the day, was stick welding. So the stick welder I've used for stainless steel, like when you're welding cast, if you've got a cast project that you've got to repair or put together, if you use stainless steel rods, it joins quite well. Of course, if you're going to heat the job up itself, and that helps. But that's my #1 most used, most valuable tool in my workshop. Yeah, so there's my top 10 power tools. So if you've got any questions about any of the tools that I've shown, leave a comment down below. Also, if you've got a particular power tool that you like, leave a comment down there on which one you use the most. Everyone has their favorite, and you know, I've got a few. So guys, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, click the like button, and if you like this kind of video and you want to see more of them, subscribe and click the little notification bell, and you'll always be able to be up to speed as they come out. I do videos weekly, so there's always something happening in my workshop, so I'm always doing something. Anyway guys, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.